I got to the work early. I was blessedly ahead of the rest of the team by about 30 minutes. Got things set up. Was waiting for everybody to start showing up for their assignments. Started working on removing some explosives out of their casings, some of the oil field explosives. And at one point in time, got down to the last one that I needed to work on, and just quit paying attention, got distracted, or there could have been something inside it that we didn't know about, but I cut into it and caused it to explode.
January 6, 2015 is a day that I'll never forget. I felt the most intense pain that I've ever felt in my life.
He walked in my office, he just tried to jam the lock, and he said, "I'm sorry, but I'm here to kill you today."
Shot me right in the face right here.
For 8 days, they kept me in a dungeon downstairs.
My heart stopped 8 times.
And he turns around and grabs my head and he slits my throat.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thin Blue Blood. I'm Houston Gass, and today with me, I've got Brian Rackow of the Midland, Texas Police Department. How are you today, Brian?
Good.
So tell us a little bit about you, man.
I've been with the Midland Police Department for a little over 22 years. I'm a lieutenant right now. I run an evening and night shift on patrol, and I still run the bomb squad.
In that 22 years, you've been there your entire career.
I did 2 years in San Antonio before I moved to Midland.
Okay, so you had a little bit of experience before you came in. And during your time with Midland, you've obviously gone through the ranks. You've been a buck patrolman, now you're a lieutenant. But there's things along in the middle that you've done that's kind of brought you to where you are today. Tell us a little bit about that.
I started my actual patrol work with Midland. I spent 2 years at the San Antonio International Airport doing patrol with them. Moved to Midland, started with them. I had a real good career overall, straight down, hands down, good career, great place to work. Had a chance to work crime prevention, did recruiting, promoted to sergeant, did a little bit of time on SWAT. Once I was on SWAT, got some of that time under my belt. We started up the bomb squad, got a chance to take over the bomb squad and run it, and that's what's been one of my leading passions at the department was the bomb squad. And then got a chance to promote up to lieutenant. Did a little bit more time back out at an airport, mainly because I'd worked at San Antonio's and they had an opening at the airport at the time. Come back to patrol, and that's where I'm sitting pretty right now.
Good. So, you're sitting here and you're missing your left hand.
So on the 24th of June in 2010 was a training day for us. We had oil field explosives that were turned over to us for disposal, and we had been working a project on getting rid of all of it. I got to the work early. I was blessedly ahead of the rest of the team by about 30 minutes. Got things set up. Was waiting for everybody to start showing up for their assignments. Started working on removing some explosives out of their casings, some of the oil field explosives. And at one point in time, got down to the last one that I needed to work on, and just quit paying attention, got distracted, or there could have been something inside it that we didn't know about, but I cut into it and caused it to explode. So
it was something that you were pretty familiar with. Obviously, you felt comfortable working on it because you'd done it before, and something went wrong.
Yes.
What would you say got you through that right there?
What got me through right there really was first and foremost for what went wrong that day, what lined up in right for me, what went my way that day. We had 3 trauma-trained officers that were on the pistol deck 100 yards away. I was in a building in our shop when I was doing that, and they were immediately over there taking care of the wounds that I received. They got out the trauma kits that were stationed at the department or at the range, took care of that. The other thing that went well for me that day, our fire department was having training. They were at their main office. They they took the building went out of power for whatever reason, couldn't get a generator started up to keep the building going. They had to come out to their training area. So just as they were pulling their gate, maybe a quarter-mile away, was when the call came out that I had my injury. So the fire department was immediately right there, behind there. They got me to the hospital real quick. Got to the hospital, got eval'd. My wife's a nurse. She come in. She made the decision to have me moved to Lubbock, which is a higher trauma trained hospital. Got moved up there, spent just about 7 days in the hospital before I checked myself out, or got permission to check myself out. And really what made me get through all of this and crawl through it was a support system. There were a lot of people that put me back together again.
Your story is a little bit similar to mine, and if you're like me, I don't believe in any form of coincidence whatsoever. Everything that would happen that day was supposed to happen. These guys couldn't get it started, man, because God obviously had a purpose in having them there. Mm-hmm. Or otherwise, man, I don't know if you would have survived. Talking about some of the injuries that you had, I know it blew off your hand. Some shrapnel went into your chest, and then it went into your other arm.
Yes.
Did it nick any arteries or anything like that at any point in time?
As from what I understand, what went through my leg missed the arteries. It got some of the nerves. There's some dead pain in the leg. What happened in the arm with that I think everything missed. This was the major spot, because that was what was holding the explosive when it went off.
How was it to go back to work? And how long did it take you to go back to work missing your hand?
It took a year for me to finally get cleared to go back to work. I still had to, I did about a year's worth of rehab, and rehab for me was getting out to the range. We took once again, one of the things I was blessed with was the fact that the department said, if you could qualify, you can qualify on what you did before, you can come back. I didn't really look at the list of everything I was qualified to do until I realized how much work it was going to be back. But we took the time, and once again, a lot of people put the effort in to relearn to shoot, relearn to drive, or I should say pursuit driving, relearn to pursuit driving. All my defensive tactics qualifications had to be redone, made sure that I could do all those things. So it was a lot of work just to get back to that point where I finally said, okay, now I'll go to rehab and do the qualification for rehab.
So you had a lot of sheer determination and a great department behind you.
And a lot of people that wouldn't let me fail.
Well, that's important when you have that combination right there, especially on a on-duty injury that's something very serious. That's got to be the biggest key to it, because it seems like in today's society there are so many officers that are getting injured in the line of duty, very seriously injured, and their departments are turning away from them. But your department did the opposite. They actually went towards you, and they did the right thing by you.
Yes, they did, very much. When you hear so many of the stories, a good friend of mine that lives in San Antonio, he told me I would have probably been medically retired by the time I hit the hospital. The department would have already signed off on everything.
Midland saw something that they could still use, and they gave you the opportunity to do that.
Yes.
That's awesome. So now you got prosthetic hands, and you've obviously gone through different styles of prosthetics, and you're obviously a big advocate for a lot of these things. How has it actually helped you, and how has it hindered you working as a police officer?
It's the hindrance of it is maybe some fine motor skill. I'm right-handed, so the left hand's really a support hand for me. So working through my issues, as long as I can hold on to something with the left hand, most of my manipulations with the right. Handcuffing, we thought handcuffing was going to be a problem. Most of the time,
Not an issue.
not an issue. The shooting, This last chance I had, I tried to qualify one-handed to see if I could. Couldn't do it. Had to go back to using a support to finish shooting, get my qualifications in. You know, it's everything's a workaround, and everything's finding that if something doesn't work, you got to look for that plan B. Plan B doesn't work for plan C, and just keep working around and have that determination not to quit. Once again, that support system that I had, they worked very diligent on, can this work, can this work, can this work? And you know, part of their entertainment value was just seeing what we could get away with and what we couldn't get away with.
If you had to say anything to anyone out there, you know, we've got numerous injured people that are watching other departments. What would you say to them right now if they get an officer that ends up being in your situation?
And once again, I learned from other injured officers on me getting back up to speed. My thing that I would tell most officers would be that the information's out there. If the department's willing and you're willing to do it, it's workable. You can take this and get past these injuries and get back to work. I firmly believe that you ought to be given that chance. Nobody wants to be taken out of the game. And when you're sidelined like this, it's vitally important for that emotional and mental stability to have that chance to walk away on your own terms and not be sidelined. That was my big concern, was I would have that opportunity to walk away when I was ready to walk away, not because something sidelined me.
I'm sure it was a big fear at first, though, man. I just lost my career.
Yep.
And I couldn't imagine, man, you know, losing a hand. I mean, because I guess you take it for granted whenever it's there, but then whenever it's gone, you don't realize how much you use it until it's gone.
Oh yeah.
We've got a lot of officers out there that have lost limbs. They've lost legs. They've lost arms. They've lost hands, but they're still able to go out and do the job. Please encourage other people that you know that may be in the same situation, that they can do it. And if you know somebody that's in this situation, hit like and share. Tag them in the post. Let them know that if Brian can make it, they can make it. And share it with your departments too, because Midland, Texas Police Department, I salute you for the way you stood behind Brian and the way you're standing behind your officers now. Thank you very much, my friend.
Appreciate it.